Good morning, guys. Look at that sunrise. Welcome to my 9th video in 9 days. That's fire. Fire's what the young people are saying. Come on. Even the patio door is in. Dude. Oh, yes. That is badass. Crew got around to, we started the siding anyway. Little faux pas on this window. This one's in, the flashing's done. Well, good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. It's just 6 o'clock in the morning. Look at the sunrise. And getting the day started over here. Gotta get the siding finished. Patio door went in yesterday. We have to get this building secured and enclosed so we can build the stairs. I haven't been in that loft since the roof went on. I made a video like a week and a half ago on it. That used to be a garage. All right, we gotta get coffee. Well, guys, I was super transparent in my last couple of videos, and that's led to a bunch of questions, so let's address them. Previous video, we were talking about chasing financial freedoms and investing in burst strategy. I mentioned flipping 4 rental properties in order to build these cabins, but I didn't disclose how we came to acquire 4 rental properties during the pandemic. So we're hacking again today, but it's not with computers. We're house hacking, and I'm going to tell you the truth about my journey. Like when I resigned from teaching, the first thing people ask me is, what about your pension? And that question is totally legit, but it got me thinking about that. Do I want to work 30 years towards that? Is that the goal? And a pension is designed to apply to the masses, so how do I know mine's working the best for me? Impromptu turn, I saw a big boat here in the canal, between all these houses. I should see it right here. This is the Coast Guard. Look at that. See that? Hold on. Coast Guard building. This feeds into the mouth of the Detroit River between Canada and the United States. So massive port of transport. All right, I think we're gonna do a real talk sunrise here on the river. Look at it. There it goes. Right through past Fort Malden. Fort Malden, War of 1812.
Whoops, up on the curb. There we go.
I love this park. So I bought my first rental property in 2019, just as I was exiting from the school board I was working for. I moved into higher ed. And the first question people asked me is, what about your pension? And I guess, it's a valid question, and it really got me thinking, what was that designed for? They provide comfort, there's stability there, but it got me thinking about complacency and conformity as well. I'm just far too risky to sit for 30 years and do the same. Those days have long since passed us. And in a world that changes overnight, thinking 30 years into the future about a fund I was hoping to receive, it didn't make sense to me anymore. I've said many times in many videos, we got into Airbnb just before the pandemic here on Lake Erie's North Shore between Canada and the United States. And a big pivot for me was to leave education and jump into real estate. I had to do that while trying to build my consulting brand and business. So I was thinking, much research, much thinking, much brainstorming, meeting with a financial advisor, ultimately decided I was going to use my pension to buy real estate. And my thinking was, and still is, at the beginning of that investment, the valuation of the pension and the valuation of whatever I purchase is the same. And I know that the pension would have done this over the course of 30 years. I know that. And I can't predict what real estate's going to do. It could be this, could end up at a low. But if we look historically at real estate investing, it's rarely a poor investment if you do it wisely. And don't forget, a pension fund is geared towards the masses. I'd like to think I'm a little more unique than that. But by using that fund as a down payment towards real estate, I then was able to leverage that asset again multiple times. You see, my pension would have just sat there for the next 20 years and I would have worked for a publicly funded school board. I could have done consulting work on the side as much as I was allowed or could fit into my schedule, but I didn't want to do that. I've mentioned the BRRRR strategy: buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. It's a strategy to get started in real estate investing. So that's what I did. I took my pension and I bought a second house, my first income property. And I've learned a ton in the last 3 years since this part of my journey began. I would have been fine with that pension fund, with a school board. I would have been safe. It would have been comfortable. I would have had that cushion, security, stability. But how stable is anything in 2024 moving forward? So once I was convinced to pull the funds from there and reallocate them to here, that is a real estate portfolio, everything changed in terms of my perspective. If I leverage this second dwelling as a real estate property, well, now I've got a house that's cash flowing. That's something my pension would never have done. And not only is the house cash flowing, but in a few years' time, I can refinance and borrow against it again. So yes, the pension plan is designed for stability, longevity, complacency, conformity, security, and it makes us feel like there's something at the end, so to speak, to work towards. But I've almost doubled the value of my initial pension fund by investing in real estate intelligently. You see, when you use that lump sum to buy one property and then you let the equity grow, that is the gap between what you owe on the property and what it's worth, and because I put such a large down payment down with my pension, the property had a ton of equity. So once I got it cash flowing using Airbnb on this shoreline, it made it rather easy to approach a bank and borrow money against it. We need to teach our young people that debt, not consumer debt, but debt, good debt is a tool, is a good thing. I mean, debt's never good, but if leveraged appropriately, you can use it to your advantage. Let me explain. I take my initial pension, I invest it in real estate, I let the equity grow on the property, I refinance the property, I borrow money against it again, giving me my initial investment and a new loan. Well, then I take that loan and I buy the property right next door, and I get it cash flowing. So while both properties sit with incredible debt against them in terms of a mortgage, that's not forever. We slowly pick away at that. But as you're slowly chipping away at your mortgage debt, the equity on the value of the property is slowly rising. Inflation. So the gap gets bigger in both directions. And that gap is where the magic happens. My pension would never have provided such a gap. So I could still be teaching with the school board and sitting on my cushy pension, but I wouldn't be here right now talking to you at sunrise on the lake. That is a humble brag, but it also is meant to bring awareness. I just simply took the funds in one asset and reallocated them into something tangible that I could use again and again and again. And I'm not saying there's no risk. There's a tremendous amount of risk with what I'm doing. But with any massive risk, the payout is huge if you do it wisely. So they said I was crazy. They said I was nuts. And in many ways, they're correct too. There's a big gamble in this, but currently it's paying off. So the bigger question is, will I need a pension in 15 years, having lived mortgage-free beginning a few years ago to that point? I no longer save money, I invest money. The mindset of saving and saving and saving. Well, that's a pension mindset. That's a work, pay. I stopped trading time for money. That was a massive shift. And now my money makes money, so I can work less. Well, what I mean is I can work on the creative projects that I enjoy, like this. Well, if you're still here, hit that like button, leave me a comment down below so I know. Thank you so very much. I need your help. We're still trying to rebrand the algorithm. Brian Aspinall coding is what YouTube looks for. And I'm doing another pivot, so help me out. Hit the like button, leave me a comment down below, trying to change the keywords on my channel to investments, cabins, camping, and all things money management. That's going to do it for another episode. As always, peace and love from Canada's most southern mainland shoreline. Give somebody close to you a hug, tell them they matter. Don't forget, you matter. Catch you on the next one.